This is one of my dreams.
Oh.
I just used there's this app called CapCut, what I use to do some of the videos for TikTok. They had this little option where you could do like script the video. So I just copied, because I told you I got it on my notepad. I just copied out the notepad and put it in there, and AI generated the pictures.
Well, no wonder. I mean, if it's a dream, it is. It's pretty. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, man. I got like 3 or 4. I did another one, but it didn't sound right. Because like I said, it's the grammar is off. Because I just woke up. It's a timepiece.
Yeah. I don't sleep enough for me to do something like that.
Hey man, you just gotta pay attention when you can. You ready?
Go for it.
Hey, welcome back to another hot, sweaty episode of the Big
and Short
of It All.
Oh yeah. Oh man, we are getting nice and ripe.
Took you out, didn't it?
I was trying to get to a better word than ripe, but
I saw your wheels turn. He was like, "We are getting ripe."
Yeah, sometimes like my mind goes straight to where it shouldn't go, so I'm like, that's ripe. Ripe is pretty tame.
We're pruny. That's all. Speaking of side note, what causes your fingers to do? Do you know what I'm talking about? When you be in the water for too long, and your fingers wrinkle. What causes that?
I'm trying to think, because I mean it's excess water, so you would think that with the water it'd get bloated, but it seems like it shrivels up. But that's when you get out of the. But
yeah, because when you're in the water, they're not wrinkly or whatever. But when you get out, that's when you really see it. I don't know. I asked Veronica that. I think she told me. Well, I think she looked it up and then told me, but I can't remember what she said.
Because it happens in a bath too, so it's not like it's chlorine or anything. I'm guessing the water evaporates into like your. I can only think that's the only thing I think of.
I mean, we are after all 60-70% water, something like that.
That's what they say.
You don't believe it?
They can tell us anything. I just believe that we don't know. A man that knows anything knows that he knows nothing. That's what I believe.
Do you believe your blood is red?
I've seen. Yes.
Even though it's not.
Well, what is it?
Your blood is blue. It turns red when it hits the air because it's the oxygen. But inside your veins, your blood is blue. You didn't know that?
All right. All right.
Does it sound like I made it up?
No, I feel like I've heard that somewhere, but I'm trying to, reconcile everything that I know. And then I'm trying to fight it with all the knowledge I have. Because, I know there's red blood cells, and I feel like that's the reason why it's red. But if it's blue, then that means that the red blood cells doesn't make it red. So it's oxidation. But
if that's the case, what are the whites? Why would the blood be white if you got white blood cells?
That's true. But no, oxidation. I know what oxidation is, but I don't know. I just listen. Like I said, if I know anything, I know that I know nothing. I know that there are some things that we made up that are what they are. So like 2 + 2 = 4. That's something I can't dispute. But as far as what goes on inside the body, if the Earth is 60-70% water, if we're 60-70% water, I'm not about to go around cutting people open trying to figure it out.
No, I get that. It's crazy you mentioned the math thing because I was watching a video on TikTok some time ago. I don't remember when, but like there was this lady, she was showing like the new math method. It's stupid because like the I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like 10 plus 3 = 13, right? So then she's like, all right, cool, 10 plus 3 = 13. But then a different way was like to break down to 10, which is like 2 + 5, 2 + 3 plus. I was like, just do 10 + 3.
Yep.
You're making extra work for yourself.
That's what I was going to say. When I've seen, like, my daughter, I've helped her with her homework before, and I remember Common Core math one time. Like, I don't remember it being a big part, but I'm guessing because she understood and she got it. But when I did my math, she knew that too. So I don't know much about Common Core math, but I wonder if doing it their way is kind of how people compute in their mind. Because obviously, when you grow up, they teach you how to do things in your mind. So, like doing tips. So if I was to try to round up, let's say 1254, and then I want to round up to 15, well, that's 246, excuse me. And the way I do that in my mind, I wonder if that's how Common Core works. Like
That makes sense because I get what you're saying. Is like instead of like adding something to like I said, I don't know why I'm blanking on an example, but like you just round it up to 20 and minus 6, then add it. So it's like you do all in your mind to get the answer, but they're doing it on paper. I don't. Either way it go.
it's just weird looking at it because we have been programmed a different way.
Yeah. At the same time, like certain things, I just feel like they're probably not gonna remember. Like, do you remember how to use a protractor? When was the last time you used a protractor?
Listen, there's plenty of... I haven't.
Do you even remember what a protractor is for?
I'm assuming making circles.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think I ever used a protractor. There are things in school. I'll give you an example. So freshman year, we had that one college course was like you had to go like intro to something, and it was that find a way or make a way. I can't remember. I don't know if I never went to the class or if there was like some things in that class that they said were required. But I just didn't do any of that, and I graduated just fine.
I don't know, man.
So I think I skipped the protractor.
You want to know? You want to know the craziest thing I ever did in college? So I had this. I think it was like intro to. It wasn't psychology. I think it was like some kind of urban planning class. It was some class that I didn't really need for my major, but I had to take it. And so we had to do this. Like they wanted us to do kind of like this little outreach thing. You had to pick a company and do like an outreach program with them. And then like once towards the end of the semester, you had to write a paper about it and present it in class. I created a whole intern thing, wrote a paper about it and presented it. And I got like an A or a B on it. But I'd never stepped foot in one business the entire semester.
Listen, and it could just be our school. I'm sure if you went to PWI, that they probably would. You probably though it probably wouldn't have went. What's the word? You couldn't skip out on stuff.
You think they would have checked up on you at a PWI?
I'm just thinking that I probably wouldn't have got away with some things at a PWI.
I think, and honestly, I think you could probably get away with more at a PWI. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Because I feel like the reason why is because compared to like HBCU, obviously I can't speak for every HBCU, but for the ones I know about that I've heard other people talk about, for the most part, most HBCU classes, you tend to have smaller classes. PWIs is like you're in a classroom with like 300 people. Like, do you think a teacher's really checking up on 300 people?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You know, as opposed to like at most of my classes, it was like probably like 15 people in there.
So yeah, okay. I'm thinking specifically like maybe Ivy League schools, because
that's even more people.
I think Ivy League schools are harder to get into, so there would be less people.
They're harder. Okay, so yes, they are harder to get into, but there's still a lot of people in them.
Not as much. So if we were.
Okay, maybe I should say even more than PWIs, but there's still a lot of people. Is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
So even though it's harder to get in, it's still, let's say you go from 300 people in the classroom to 150. There's still a lot of people.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, I don't, like, besides maybe the freshman classes, I don't think there was more than, did our freshman classes even get to 100 people?
I don't think the only class I had at A&M that had probably close to 100 people was like history. That I can remember. That's the only class. The rest of my classes was like maybe max 30.
Yep.
So. And
listen, so, you know, I'm sure this is a hard pivot. Just bear with me. So a lot of my, I won't say fantasies.
I'm still riding the train, Green.
And what?
I don't know. I was hoping you was going to say that. I don't even know where that came from. It just, my brain just said, ride train with Grain.
I took it as riding a train gang. No?
I don't know. I've never even heard that before in my life. Train Grain. So your fantasy. You had a fantasy.
It's like, I guess that was kind of one of my go-tos because, you know, back before I was seasoned, is when I was more active on the girl scene. So in college, just a small class, you might see a cute girl. I remember a couple girls in classes, and just I won't say just the fantasies have varied, but somehow going off to the bathroom or hey, let's skip class, go to the car or something like that.
I get that.
Yeah.
Did you ever try to recreate that fantasy?
No, I've done many things.
Oh, okay, guys.
And I mean, it's not like if you get on
that camera.
if you if you get on A&M campus, I mean, there are some buildings that are open.
This is very true. Yeah, this is very true. So,
and I don't think it's difficult. You can probably just walk there's a big old field. You can just walk on campus, and then the music, and be quiet.
The crazy thing about it is and I know there's other stuff we can talk about, but I think I mentioned this before on here. I don't remember. But I just remember when I first came to A&M, there was a big thing about the locals riding on campus, local, the people from the town. And now I'm a local. I have become a local.
I remember when I came down here for a college tour, and we were out there, and there was this one old school car, and it was pearlescent. I don't even know if that's a word, but it was. I got a picture of it, and a couple of girls in my class, call them whatever you want to. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming to this college just for that," and it was obvious this person was a local, stayed off campus. But then, it's interesting that just happened to happen. Maybe we came during a certain, I don't know, but
I don't know, man.
I listened to. I just started listening to this "Let's Keep It a Buck" podcast, and they said if you are in your 30s. There is no reason that you should be going to a tailgate at your college. They can understand if you have a kid that's but if your kid's in a game, then you probably
what? You got kids in gangs?
Listen,
at the tailgate?
Train gang. What kind of y'all just walk around the city picking up girls to run chains on?
No. What they do is they carry grains of rice. They take the train as them throwing rice at the girl in order. Is was it sequent order, subsequent order? They just take turns. Train grain. That's what they do.
Drive by.
Then they end up being like Hawkeye and got to pick up their grains because they run out. So.
Can't leave any evidence.
Why'd you bring brown rice? That's all I got. It's harder than regular white rice.
That's more expensive. That's organic, man.
You got one guy with jasmine rice.
And and what's the word? I was gonna say coots. They the ops of the bean game.
Yeah.
Black eyed peas.
They partner with the Mexican rice people from the other side of the tracks.
Jollof.
We have fried rice.
Arroz.
You know what I thought about the other day? I just it just made me think about it. The old buddy from the movie was 30 Minutes or Less. You got the code. What code? The AB up there.
Yes. Oh.
What's that? He said the Contra code. Oh man,
that's such a good look. Listen, there's some. I just tried watching. You Don't Mess with Zohan.
Couldn't get through it.
No, it was a little bit too zany for me. Too over the top. And I used to love that movie.
I'm about to say because you talking about the cat, the
puppies.
I blow this block. I blow these puppies.
Oh, I used to say that all the time. What is it? When was it?
I know. That's what I said. That was your part.
I'm gonna take you with me. I'm gonna blow up. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, I gotta watch the whole thing now.
Yeah, but you can't get through it though.
Cause he's sitting there flipping fish, and then a fish he drops to the ground, and the fish goes in his butt, and he's like.
But you got past it the first time.
I need you there with me.
I'll watch it with you. I got no problem with it.
Take it, smell it. I remember that part.
Hey man, Adam Sandler has I think he's just kind of gotten to a point in his career where he's just kind of like, I do what I want to do.
I agree. I got money. I prove I don't have to prove myself.
Oh, I think he just makes. I fully believe two things when it comes to Adam Sandler's movies and his career. Either one or two things is going to happen, or both. One, I feel like he makes the movie because it's a movie he wants to see, and two, he's bringing his friends along.
Most definitely.
Just because to have a good time, and three, another one, they're gonna film it at a location just so they can have a trip.
Most definitely.
I mean, why not?
I just found out that Adam Sandler is the voice of Drac from Hotel Transylvania. I didn't put that together. But when I hear, I can hear it. It is very obvious.
You did that. He has a very okay, James. All right. He has a very distinct voice. He also sings in every Hotel Transylvania. And Adam Sandler sings a lot in all his movies.
I'm just thinking about movies. There's a couple that I want to talk about. But yes, I didn't put it together.
Did you know Kevin James was in it too?
Who was he? The mummy? No,
he's
the mummy's a black
he's
guy.
the Frankenstein's monster.
Does he say words? Yes.
Yes. Did you know CeeLo Green was in the first one?
Wait. Who doesn't say words in the movie? Probably the Glob. Who was CeeLo?
He was the mummy.
That makes sense. Yep.
Steve Buscemi was the wolf person. What's his name? That played Joe Dirt.
David Spade.
He was Invisible Guy.
Yep. I know those.
You didn't know this beforehand?
It all makes sense now.
That's what I said. That's part of the reason why I said what I said earlier. He goes to make a movie he wants to see, because he probably did it because it's a family movie, because he's big on family, probably, whatever, his jokes. And my people are going to be in it as well.
That's so crazy. So crazy that this is an Adam Sandler movie. And the thing is, they're not bad. So it's like, Adam Sandler, even though he makes bad, subjective movies, Hotel Transylvania, they've been pretty good.
I would say if I had to say out of his career of movies, I would say he's probably, if I had to give a percentage of good movies to me, I would say he's probably at about 60%, 65%. I like a lot more of his movies than the movies that I don't like.
Would you say that most of his movies are one watch kind of movies? Like, would you these 60%? Can you go back and watch them?
I can't see. That's not a fair question, because there's a lot of other movies that I've only watched once.
Right.
So like I can say that about any movie. Like there's some movies that I absolutely love. I've only seen once.
I understand.
But to answer you, I guess I can answer your question this way. If somebody wanted to watch one of those movies that I put in the 60%, or if I had if I had cable and it was on, yeah, I'd watch it again.
Yeah, me too. I feel the same. Yeah, just because I probably haven't watched it in so long. The problem, don't mess with Zohan. I feel like that's what I was getting at. I feel like most of his movies I'm going to place in the don't mess with Zohan category. So even though I loved them when I first watched them, they probably don't hold up. They probably won't hold up for me, but I'll watch them again.
Yeah, I will say the thing about comedy movies is some comedy movies, some hold up, some of them don't. They're real hit or miss. And
a lot of times it's kind of the people that you're with too. Like if you watch a movie with some people that make the movie better,
that does help. But that's what I say. Some of them, for instance, like Harlem Nights. Like I may not laugh as hard as I did the first time I watched it, but it still holds up. Like it's still funny to me.
Listen, Larry, I didn't know it was Harlem Nights because I've been meaning to watch it with you, but I was watching it in the barbershop, and I got to see this movie. It was so funny.
It's a great movie, man.
It was so funny.
It's a great cast. Too.
Oh my goodness.
What part did you? I remember you telling me about it, but I don't remember what part you watched.
I don't know if there was a pool table.
Oh yeah, because he was because he had the glasses. Fred Sanford. They call him Eagle Eye, something like that.
Yeah, that was the gambling, the crap table. So that was like
Yeah.
towards the end of where, like when I got my hair was
Okay.
done. But it was like a little bit more, and I felt like there was they were in a room. A dude, I think he didn't have teeth. Was that?
You probably talking at the beginning.
I'm not sure where it was.
Because they were like, was it like a little boy that brought in like a bag?
I remember a little boy. I don't. Maybe.
Yeah, okay. So in the beginning, it's like a young Eddie Murphy. He comes in, he brings, because Richard Pryor owns like a basically a club, but he gambles. It's like a gambling room in the back. Mm-hmm. And so they were shooting craps in the back, and there was a guy who was shooting craps. He was missing like teeth or whatever. And so he ends up getting killed by little Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I remember somebody getting shot, I think.
Yeah, because he was like, you need to get that kid because the kids bring me bad luck. And he was like, I'm not going to shoot these dice till you get that kid out of here. And he was like, go on, shoot the dice, yo, jagged tooth, whatever. And so he crapped out and he got upset. He's like, he had a knife. That's what it was. He had a knife. It was like, he's like, I'm going to stab everybody till I get my money. Yeah. The scene I was talking about was with the Fred Sanford where he was like the crap. So he was like, man, he wrote it. I think he said 7. 7?
That ain't 7, man. You can't.
He's like, oh, I got some eye. It was just like, well, get it the fuck out your eye.
And then somebody put him to the side like, listen, you take a break.
Yeah, man, you gotta watch it, man. It's a good movie. Okay. We have to record it and watch it.
Yeah, that one, there's so many of them that we got to do. But the movies I was thinking about, Adam Sandler, so 8 Crazy Nights. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, the animated one. I don't remember if I liked it or didn't like it.
I didn't like it, and I really wanted to. Like, it was different, and, comedians, not necessarily saying that it was like a serious movie, but it was just different from, it was animated. So I really wanted to like it, and I just kept, like, come on, and it just never got there for me.
I had to rewatch it because the only thing I remember about it was like he was like a jackass, and then he ends up becoming nice. That's really all I just remember it was animated, and he was like everybody else. And I don't say everybody looked different, but he looked like Adam Sandler.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, so not even just animated, it was like hand drawn, so it was really different than what you would expect at Adam Sandler. So it wasn't Hotel Transylvania. It was hand drawn.
Oh yeah, definitely no. It was definitely different. I think I could tell you the only Adam Sandler movie. Like I have other Adam Sandler movies that I didn't necessarily like too much. The only one that I could tell you for a fact,
absolute,
that I did not. There were parts. There were parts that were funny, but as a whole, I did not like the movie, and that's My Boy.
Okay, so I remember Jack and Jill, and they came out somewhat around like maybe right after each other. I'm looking at the poster, and I remember like maybe somebody had sunglasses on.
So it's Adam Sandler, and then the what's the name of the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I didn't see that.
What's his name? Andy
Kaufman. That seems
no, he's person. He was on SNL too. But
while you're looking it up, what is it about?
So basically, it's so stupid. So basically, Andy Samberg. So Adam Sandler, he sleeps with a teacher, gets her pregnant. She goes to jail, and Adam Sandberg is his son, and so he comes back into his son's life, and Adam Sandberg's getting married, and so it's like him just following along, going throughout the wedding traditions and stuff like that. Then of course a lot of stuff happens. It's a lot. Like I said, there are moments that I'm like, that was hilarious, but then just as a whole, it's just a lot.
So what you said made me think of another fantasy. We gonna hard pivot again. So you
about
said,
a teacher?
No, you said he getting somebody pregnant, she goes to jail. Conjugal visits.
Oh, okay.
How does those work? How do those work? Like, obviously, I'm sure you need to be not necessarily not related. That's not the word I'm looking for, but like married to a person.
I don't think you even have to be married.
So can I go up there and apply?
I think you at least have to know the person.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So like, I'm going to visit somebody, and I just see somebody over there. Like, hey, you want to put me on your conjugal list?
I don't think they have a list.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know how that part works. But I think you have to at least know the person and be in some form of relationship. I don't know.
That's one of my fantasies. Just going to and relieving stress. Like, hey, whenever you
just wanna hook up with female prisoners.
I feel like it's safe, because I mean, I obviously people can go into jail and have diseases, but I would assume that most, I don't want to say most of them, but I don't know. But yeah, just go in there. You get something, I get something.
Here's the thing, James. Here's what you got to realize. Fantasy-wise, I get it. Definitely understand it. There are some female criminals. I see mug shots. Makes sense. Here's what you got to understand. Some prisoners start to expect you to do stuff for them since you're on the outside. And they also have connections to people who are on the outside.
Okay, so I can't say that I would do this in real life because my history. I'm not willing to. Anyway, but where was I going? Shoot.
Would you role play it?
Yeah, most definitely. Say what you were saying again before.
About the consequences because they ask you to do stuff because you're on the outside.
Yes. All right. So this is. I'm about to get a lot of heat. I haven't had one of these moments in a while.
I don't think you've really had a lot of heat on this show, James. as many statements you made that you thought you'd get heat for, I really don't think you've caught any heat.
So for the women who are listening, I feel like you all are really not going to vibe with this, but I feel
keep it a buck.
And you can say this is coming from a guy who whatever, but I don't feel like. I got to put this in a different way.
Just throw it out there.
We give women more power than we know. How do I want to put this?
Women have more sexual power than they.
Yeah.
That's a common thing that people know.
Because like, I hate that. I'm not saying that all men are the same. Because obviously we aren't. But when I'm doing things with the lady, typically they get more than I do. Yet they're the ones that it's a privilege for you to, and I can understand, but you're getting something, I'm getting something. You're getting more than I am, so more like in my head, you're getting more out of this sexual encounter than I am.
Well, that's you. Hey, that train grain leaves my station every time, baby.
I'm just I don't.
I get what you're saying. Though.
I feel like it's women up here, men down here. I feel like it's more of an even playing field than society has made it.
No, I thought you were gonna say something. I really didn't know what you were gonna say. Yeah, that's a common conversation that has been had by a lot of people that like men give women a lot of power sexually because it's like basically because essentially. Most things men do are to have sex with women, and so because women know that, they will. You know what I'm saying? So that's a common conversation. That's not like I don't think you get too much heat for that.
Okay, all right. Just I know women. They got this power. It's empowerment.
Well, they're gonna give you the opinion, but the opinion is definitely coming. I'm just simply saying you're not saying anything that hasn't been said.
Okay. I'm just glad to hear that somebody else is thinking because I thought I was like one of the few only people out here.
No, I've watched a lot of videos about like people talking about stuff like that. I did. Speaking of sex, I did see this video recently, probably like a couple hours before we started recording. There was this guy and he was talking about how like, my summary skills are not great, but I'm gonna try my best. So. Him and the lady were talking on it was like a clip of a podcast. And so I say that because I don't know what was said before this, what was said after this. All I know is the clip that I saw. And so the clip starts with her talking about like, as women, we create life, right? And so the guy was like, no, let me correct you. He's like, y'all don't create life. Y'all carry life. He's like, as a guy, I have like 8 billion basically beings in my body right now. But he's like, your eggs are dead. They don't come alive until I introduce sperm into it.
You gestate life.
Yeah. He's like basically because like as well as women carry the X chromosome, but men carry the X and the Y. So we also dictate the sperm, like the gender of the baby or whatever. So I was like, I didn't. To your point about the whole blood, the other side, like I've never heard that before, but makes sense.
I remember the XY, there was like a 2x2 graph and like XX, XY, something like that. And they were like, if you do XX, you get such and such. If you do XY, if you do YY, and I don't think YY is like a thing.
It probably is nowadays. It probably is nowadays.
No. Well, I think if you do get YY, I think that maybe I know that's problematic. Maybe deformities, stillbirth, something like that. But YY is like very uncommon, and it's death or something. But yeah, I remember studying that. I don't know why that stuck in my head, but
But how do you feel about the statement that?
I mean, I've always felt like, obviously, everybody knows that it takes two to tango. That's what essentially what that means. And women, you can't. I've never thought of it that way. Like that the women doesn't give life. They just gestate it. Me, technically, I feel like, while I won't, that's a whole nother conversation that I'm not going to get into because abortion's involved, whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's a big thing.
We've already talked about life, and like, I don't think necessarily, I don't want to get into just once you come out, that is when you are officially born.
Yeah.
So in that regard, obviously a woman would give life in that aspect, but in order to get it started, then no, the man is the one that introduces life.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, because I think based on what she was saying, I think I've always rather had the notion that when I hear women create life, I never really thought about like how it happens. I just thought about like, because women get pregnant, they give birth, they're creating life. But really, for sake of record, if you go based on what he's saying is true, again, I haven't researched anything, I don't know, makes sense. But if you go based on what he's saying, then yeah, all women are essentially doing, and this is not saying that they're not important, because like you said, it takes both of us to do it. It's just saying women don't create it. It's created because we both came together. You're just carrying the life and, basically forming it until it comes out. But you didn't just create it, because then you'd be asexual.
Yep.
You'd be a seahorse.
Yep.
The seahorse is asexual, right?
I don't want to say so. That's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of asexual.
I believe they are. I feel like that's the main one that I've heard about being asexual is seahorses.
So this is one thing, I don't know if I've said this on a podcast, but another thing that women tend to hold on to and feel like they are better or they control something. Anyway, so you hear all the time, women are like, men couldn't handle birth, giving birth.
The pain of it.
Exactly. So it's well established that men can endure the higher threshold. I say well established. If
I was about to say, when is that? I don't know.
If I go and pinch a woman, and I pinch you, I feel like a woman's at the same amount. A woman is going to react more to it than a man would. And I know it's not the same. Well, I know my pushback to that was going to say I understand what you're saying. It's not the same as far as giving birth. My pushback was going to be that's an outside pain compared to like an inward pain. Right, but so I'm just establishing that men can react to pain better than women do. Now,
but that's what I'm saying. That's a different statement, though.
Yeah. I'm getting there. I'm building up. So one, it's not your choice. So don't feel like you chose to obviously you can choose to give birth, blah blah blah, whatever. But you are biologically mandated to be the person to carry children. So don't act like you chose this. Two, if men were biologically mandated to carry children, we would be able to handle the pain. Simple as that.
I don't disagree, but I feel like that's kind of being like, I feel like it's kind of like what they say, what's the term? Like moving the field goal post. Why'd you say that? Because it's like, okay, Because your original point was that women talk about how men couldn't handle the pain of childbirth. Right. Then you were talking about how, like, how we react to pain differently. Cool, I get that. Now, if you kept going down that path as far as like, oh, because, pain, I get it. But then you was like, well, because women are biologically mandated to, basically endowed with the ability to handle pain, so therefore that's what they do. But he was like, if men were given that ability, then that's like changing it from being like, oh, because we're men we can handle it, as opposed to like, if we were given the ability to have birth, then we're also giving that same ability to endure the pain to do it.
Yeah, I was just giving you two different, minds of thinking. Like,
okay. So I was thinking it was all linear. My bad.
No, I just feel like, obviously, if we were to, nobody's shooting a baby out their dick. So,
hey man,
if that was the case, then
I was good. But man.
If that was the case, then yeah, like we would all die. First of all, like that's, I would think, physically impossible because it's
a little bit of hole, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if we were to change it to, then we would be women. But I'm just saying, if all men just happen to get women reproductive organs and then women got blah blah, I feel like we could handle the pain. Like it's not like, obviously, if a woman has a baby, then the next time she has a baby, then she knows. But let's just say all women have their first baby and then men have their first baby, the same level of whatever, then we would be able to handle it just as much as a first-time mother would. If I know that was a real confusing way to put things. I'm sorry.
No, I get what you're saying. I guess my only I ain't say concern. My only, again, pushback is like you're saying we can handle it, but at the same time you're also saying we will be able to handle it because we have the ability and the same things that they have to handle it.
Well, I'm trying to, because like obviously, if we shoot a baby out our dicks, then we're gonna die. Like that's our dicks are gonna explode.
No,
it's gonna.
Okay, let me say it this way. This, I feel like an equivalent statement would be, because women say that men can't handle the pain of childbirth, right? If men were given the ability, as we are now, not changing us to have the ability that women have, but just we're given obviously we'll be coming out of, but like if we were just, let's say it comes somewhere, but we were given that ability because we're men, we can handle the pain because we can handle pain differently than women. That's okay. I see the point you're trying to make, but I feel like the reason why it keeps getting confusing to me because it's like you'll say that, but then you're like, well, if men would have the ability that women have, then we can handle pain. So it's pretty much saying like, in order for men to be able to bear it, we would have to have the ability that women have to bear it.
I guess I'm just trying to get ahead of people saying, well, if men just take men as they are, then if a baby came out of their dicks, then it would, So I mean, I'm trying to get ahead of anybody. So let's just say, as we are now, comes out our butts. Like somehow it is able to physically come out of our butts. Then we don't have a need to have, woman. Then I mean, I put some big turds out my butt. And I've survived, and I mean that's not the same. Obviously, a baby's going to be a lot bigger.
All right, South Park.
So, I mean, one, if I'm in a doctor's office, then I could handle it. That's all I'm saying. If a woman can do it, and that's a horrible way to put it, but if a woman can do it, why not a man?
So anything you could do, I could do better? That's what you said?
I didn't say better. Nope, I'm not saying that. I'm just
saying. Anything you
saying,
could do, I could do as well?
I don't see why not.
Hey, man. I'm going to let you stand on that. By yourself.
Now you are kind of, what's the word, agreeing that this may be a hot take.
Oh, here's the thing. Like I said earlier, I never said you haven't had hot takes before. I just simply said you haven't had hot takes, but you haven't really gotten the heat for the hot takes you've had. Just like I don't really think you'll get a lot of heat from these hot takes. Just saying. Now, if you do, I could easily chop this as a clip and put it on TikTok.
I say let's do it.
Okay. I'll put it out there and let the people say what they say.
Here we go.
You can say no. Still got the opportunity.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. You heard it here. I guess I'll make a hard pivot to get away from that.
Okay.
How did you feel about the first few games of the NBA?
All right. Bedtime Stories was the other Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about Adam Sandler. Do you have a... Scratch your question. Sorry. You can cut it out. I don't care. We'll leave it in. What do you have a favorite Adam Sandler movie? I forgot where we got there from Adam Sandler.
So nostalgia, it's Waterboy and Little Nicky, and I feel like Waterboy is more of a focused movie. I think Waterboy is like just random jokes, even though it does have some kind of focus to it. But it feels like Little Nicky is more immature than Waterboy.
Yeah, Little Nicky is it's not in my 60%. it's a lot higher than That's My Boy, but it's not in that 60%.
And I can understand that. I definitely understand that. But those would be my two.
If I had to give you a favorite, honestly, it's gonna be between probably I give you three: Waterboy, 51st Dates, and probably
I got three on my mind.
Oh, I just had it.
Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Wedding Singer. No, none of those.
They're in my 60%, but I wouldn't say they're in my top three of Adam Sandler. I want to say Hidden Gems for some reason, but then that's a stressful movie. I don't know.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems, yeah.
Hidden Figures. That's what I was thinking of.
I don't know. I have to pick a third one. I just leave those two: 51st Dates and Waterboy.
51st Dates surprised me. I don't know why I didn't expect that to be good.
I really liked it. Like, Just Go With It was also good too.
That was three. Waterboy and Little Nicky, Just Go With It. That's and no, We're the Millers is Jason Sudeikis. Never mind.
Yeah.
So while you're looking that up, so the NBA games. I thought, and you know, Karl Anthony Towns, he got traded somewhat recently, so they haven't had a lot of time in jail. And Mikal Bridges,
Hustle. It's on Netflix.
That's the other basketball movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Hustle was good. Hustle was real good.
Okay.
It was real good.
Something's going on with Mikal Bridges and his shot, and people have said that, you know, he's been dealing with that.
Because he changed it, didn't he?
Yeah, but if he's been dealing with it before, I don't know if he's going to go back to what he did. But that, you know, Mikal Bridges, I wanted to pick him during fantasy football because he's an Iron Man. He plays in like
fantasy football?
Basketball.
He plays football too? He is multi-talented.
Anthony Edwards thinking about going to football, but, you know.
He's the conductor of the train grain. Train grain.
What were you about to say?
I was gonna say honorable mention anger management.
Ooh. Yeah.
I think I did pick up Mikal Bridges. I think I did get him.
He'll figure it out at some point. But
he will, man.
I thought the Knicks were going to put up more of a fight.
They got washed.
But, you know, I mean, like I said, Karl Towns just got there. Julius Randle somewhat just got there, so they gotta figure it all out. The Lakers, I don't want to say this is just game one.
I did get Mikal Bridges.
This is just game one.
Yep.
You know, the Bronny thing is probably the one thing that, you know, I kind of want to talk about more. But, you know, I want to see J.J. Redick succeed. I've always liked J.J. Redick. But I'm like, the Lakers is like probably one of my bottom three teams. So I'm fighting that. I want to see J.J. Redick succeed. I don't like the Lakers. I'm not big on LeBron. I'm not as big of a LeBron hater as others are. But he's just the guy that you want to root against. And, you know what, at this point, no, I take that back. At this point, I don't necessarily want to root against him. I'm indifferent. So I used to root against him, but now, you know, he's, I don't care either way against, you know, I just don't like the Lakers. So I think that's more what's spilling to the LeBron.
Yeah. I somewhat put LeBron in the same box that I put Kobe Bryant in. Yep. And it's really for a particular reason. I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to tell you what I mean first. But I put him in that box because, like, how I felt about Kobe Bryant was like I was never a Kobe Bryant fan. I didn't hate Kobe, but I just didn't like Kobe like that. But at the same time, I respected like that's Kobe. You know, like oh he gonna drop 60, like it's Kobe. So I put LeBron in that box where I ain't really the biggest LeBron person. I don't hate it, but at the same time, it's like that's LeBron. Like he gonna do what he gonna do. The reason I put him in that box is because I just feel like he whines a lot, and like I understand. Trust me, I understand the refs. They have different ways that they call fouls based upon the type of player. Like for instance, okay, like a Shaq, right? He's gonna get probably foul call against him more than he would other people fouling him because he's a bigger guy. I guess they kind of feel like he can take fouls, whatever. Same with LeBron. The issue I have with LeBron is like he feels that way. He feels like he should get more calls, which he probably should because he does get fouled a lot. But at the same time, you're also running over 3 people to get to the rim. So it's like it doesn't equal out. Like you just ran over 3 people and then one person swipes your arm. And you're just like, oh, foul. It doesn't, come on, man. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, come on. It doesn't balance out. It doesn't.
I wonder if, everybody thinks that his son is going to be more in the G League than, the NBA, but do you think that maybe he'll calm down more if his son's on a bench? I mean, obviously his son has probably been watching him his whole life.
Nah, it's going to be the same. It's LeBron. He's been in the league 20 seasons. Why would he just all of a sudden stop that now? It's LeBron. Come on, man. But all that aside, I am very appreciative, especially for it to be 2 black guys, for them to be a part of NBA history, to be the first father and son to play at the same time. Because I don't know if the record is for them to be in the league at the same time or just on the same team and in the league at the same time.
I think playing just let's say not necessarily the same court. Yeah, the same court, same game.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, as much, despite how I feel about LeBron and how I don't like him or respect him, at the end of the day, you can't not appreciate that. Like he's been in the league long enough to the point to where his son has been drafted to the same team and they're on the same court at the same time. Granted, his son didn't score no points, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's a feat in itself. Like.
So where do you see Bronny's career? What do you think his trajectory is going to be?
Honestly, I can't really tell you because I haven't really watched him. I just watched highlights. I've watched highlights and I've heard people talk about what he's done. So like I haven't really watched him play, but just based on what I've heard, I don't, because his score is inconsistent, which is to be expected because you first come in the league, they're not going to just give you 30 minutes on the court. But I mean, I don't know if he's going to get to the level of being like his dad or like being a top echelon NBA player. But at the same time, like I don't see him being a scrub either. Like I don't know who to compare as far as like level wise where he would be. But I think he has a promising career. I'll say it that way. Meaning like. I don't think he's going to be like some players where they come in, they get drafted, or they go to the G League and they never make it out of the G League, or they make it to the NBA, they play 2-3 seasons for like 5 teams and then don't play no more. I don't think he's going to do that, but I think he'll be around for a while. Now, how well he does, I don't know.
So that's what I was going to lay out the different scenarios. So you named 2. So like you said, let's say he served his purpose. That's a horrible way to put it. As, being the first father-son duo. And then he's going to go to the G League. Maybe he does well, maybe he doesn't. But either way it go, maybe he spends the rest of his career in the G League. But I feel like, you still make money in the G League.
Not much.
Yeah, but I mean, it's better than not being in the NBA or playing basketball at all.
Who his dad is.
So
I'm not trying to say he's spoiled, but he come from money.
Which is true. So then the other thing would be, he does not perform enough that he stays on any rotation. So then he's just in the league and he becomes, I don't want to say Ish Smith because Ish Smith played a long time. But, like you said, just bounce from team to team 2 or 3 years and he's out the league.
Yeah.
Or do you think that he gets? I mean, you said you don't know, but I'm just laying out the different scenarios. So then he performs enough that he does become, end of the bench role player. Or I guess the ceiling, maybe six man. I just, nobody really sees him as being a starter.
I could see him being like an Al Horford.
Okay. I can if he and I'm not saying that people his height or shorter doesn't really get to that point, but I mean because Isaiah Thomas but with the deficiencies that he has now, and the fact that he's not very tall comparatively, I don't know if he gets there. I mean, he has to look. LeBron, they could pour a lot of developments of money into him developing, but I mean, at this point, he should have had all that by now.
Well, two things. One, what I mean by Al Horford, in the sense of like, Al Horford he's a staple name on the Celtics. Been in the league for quite some time, but he's also just Al Horford. Like he's not really like when you think of the Celtics. He's probably the third or fourth person you think about, maybe fifth. He's not really like a flashy name like Al Horford's playing tonight. It's just you just know when he shows up, he's gonna do what he's here to do. He's gonna get the points when you need him. Play a little defense. He's gonna be consistent.
The thing about him is that he's always been a starter his whole career.
Right. But that's what I'm not even talking about like starting or just whether he being started or six man. I'm talking about just as far as like his play.
Okay.
Like he's just gonna be whenever he plays, whether it's six man, end of the bench, whatever. He's gonna be a role player on the team. They bring him in with like if let's say they do like a small lineup, whatever. You just know when he shows up, he's gonna be consistent. He's gonna do what he's there to do. Get his points, get his assists, shoot the shots, hit a big shot or two. He's just gonna be consistent. That's Al Horford. He's just consistent.
Now, Ish Smith, that Killian Hayes. Let's say Killian Hayes. People.
I don't know who that is, but I'm just going to assume yes. yes.
For years and years, people are like, all right, this is his time to prove himself. He's going to prove himself, and then eventually he's like, all right, you've had all this time to prove yourself, and it's just not there. So you're out the league.
Yeah, I forgot what my other point was.
Sorry, talking about Al Horford.
It was something you said before I started talking about Al Horford. Because you were talking about the G League. I can't remember. I can't remember. But like, I don't know.
Did you watch the ring ceremony?
No, I didn't watch any of it.
I just, so many names that I just didn't, I don't follow basketball enough that I would know the people who weren't in the rotation. So there was like 3 people. I was like,
Oh yeah, it's always like that.
If you pawn this ring, you'll probably get more than you'll probably ever get in your whole career.
But they're also still making a lot more than I'm making.
Which is true. I don't. It's so crazy that that's just the way the game works. That not only are these coaches, these assistant coaches, that nobody. I don't want to say nobody knows, but then these
coaches,
12, 13, 14 men get in the ring.
Because you're on the team, man.
Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, all these other people, no rings. Chris Paul. Just that's crazy to me.
Hey man, I don't know. Let me. Okay, so you talked about the Knicks, right? Oh, I know what I was gonna say about Bronny. I remember now. Because you were talking about as far as like them pouring money into him, and because you would think he would have all these things by now. What I was going to say was you also got to factor in the fact that he had a heart condition, and so he didn't play for like a year. And so like I imagine him not playing basketball because obviously he's a different level than me. Him not playing basketball for a year hurts him a lot worse than what hurt me. Like I can play now, not play until next year, and I'm probably still gonna be the same. But like him not playing for a year, like that hurts him a lot. And so I feel like he's still trying to get his feet under himself, so to speak. So, but he's in the NBA as well.
obviously a year in college is, a developmental part of the process. But
I'm talking about just a year in general. Like even if just you said whether college or not, if you sit off a year and you don't play any for that year.
yeah, I'm just like that year, but being that it was in college, like that's a step up in competition. But I mean, he still, high school, he was playing and he still, had the development. So, I mean, he had a long time to develop. But college is where you're supposed to take that step, take a step. So, I mean, that's, I can understand. I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, hey, a year for you, a year for me, a year for anybody compared to, him.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, this is kind of a pivot. Well, not really a pivot because it's still in the same vein. Based on what you saw from the Celtics, granted, I know they, like you said, they were playing the Knicks, who, like you said, they're trying to mesh. They got new people, new lineup. You got a guy changing the shot. All these things, right? Even with all that granted, they still beat them by 30, 40, right? Based on what you saw, do you think they got a chance to repeat?
So, I mean, eventually the trend has to be broken. Just based on all these past, they do have a chance. Yes, most definitely. Typically, 60-win teams are still pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think they're going to take a drastic step back. Do you want to go with history? Do you want to go? Celtics. I mean, the last time they won is 2008. So, to answer your question, yes, I do think that they have a chance.
Well, I mean, okay, let me ask it this way. How strong is it? Because obviously they have a chance. Any team has a chance, especially one that just came off winning. So they have a chance. How strong, in your opinion, is their chance?
All right, so I'm not saying, if you want to classify this as a super team.
I probably wouldn't.
They've got quite a few names. It's almost like they're almost the Avengers themselves.
Who are their names?
Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown.
Who are their names?
Jason Tatum.
Okay, 2 names.
Drew Holiday won a championship with the Bucks.
That doesn't mean he's a big name, though.
He's definitely like on the upper echelon. He's not all NBA, but I mean, he's not.
You might as well call him Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, Rajon Rondo was one of the best point guards in the NBA for a while.
But when you think about that Celtics as a super team, he wasn't included in the names, is what I'm saying.
Which is true.
That's my point. Like, yes, they have a super team as far as talent. Name wise, they have 2 people, maybe 3.
Kristaps Porzingis.
That's why I said maybe.
But he's always injured. So I'm just saying, like, when it comes to like I just feel that. And I feel like Jason Tatum, he has too much to prove, and I'm not saying that he's going to be their downfall.
Oh, he got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. So I obviously I don't feel like anybody in the East comes. I don't want to say comes close because I felt like the Knicks would, and they still got time. The Knicks. Oh, yeah. It's only been 1 game. They are definitely taking a step forward. I don't think the Bucks. I mean, they're gonna get it together. I feel like this season will probably be better than last season.
Have you heard about the rumor with the Bucks? So there's a rumor going around that basically Giannis is pretty much saying like, well, he feels like if they don't win this year or make a substantial run, that he's pretty much going to get traded, or he wants to trade.
Yeah, he said possibly that he wanted to go to the Bulls. So I mean, I'm fingers crossed. So he said that for a few years now.
But if he goes to the Bulls, does that solve y'all issue though?
So the problem is that, obviously they're going to want something in return. And who do we have? Vucevic isn't, performing like he used to.
But for the sake of conversation, let's say the Bulls are able to get Giannis and keep who they got now. Does that solve y'all problem?
No, we need to get rid of the people we have. We need to, if we get Giannis, it's not going to be an immediate turnaround. We need to build around him. I would say Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. If we have him, we don't. Patrick Wood. I'm about to get deep into it. So it would be a retooling of the. We definitely have to retool.
Yeah, I've been needing to retool, man.
I personally, Lonzo. We'll see. This year is going to determine what's up with Lonzo. I personally felt I gave up on him, but he got this surgery that nobody's ever had before, so this could be a breakthrough in science.
I still think Melo is better than him.
At the moment, maybe it's because he's with Charlotte, but at the moment, both of their careers are, I won't say the same, because obviously.
Oh, I'm more so talking about skill wise.
Yeah.
I just feel like skill wise, LaMelo is just better than Lonzo. You think Lonzo's better skilled wise than LaMelo?
Lonzo offers different things. So he offers, better defense. He offers, he was like top in 3-point, percentage. So it depends on what you want. And now I am nowhere near high on Lonzo Ball.
But we're talking merely based on comparing the two. It's just skill wise, not looking at stats. Just skill to skill. Who do you have?
If they were both healthy, and they will be healthy, let's say for their career, I would pick Lonzo. As much as I don't like Lonzo, I'm not saying I don't like Lonzo. As much as I'm not high, just because I don't feel like a point guard being your star is going to get you a championship. So yes, LaMelo, skill-wise, sure, if you want to go that far, I feel like his overall would be higher than Lonzo.
But that's what I'm asking. I'm not even talking about like championship. I'm not even talking about playing 5-on-5 team. You put them head to head, 1-on-1, skill wise. Who's better?
LaMelo is better.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm trying to put it from a idea of putting a team together.
No, I'm talking about just straight skill compared to each other. I feel like LaMelo is better. Now, with that being said, I agree with you. If you add in the other, particulars as far as like the team and the build of the team and what they require. I get all that. Like Charlotte is not the best team. Obviously the Bulls aren't that much better, but that changes things. But like if I'm talking about just straight roll the ball out, 1-on-1, LaMelo versus Lonzo, I'm taking LaMelo every time.
I agree.
Every time. Now, you throw the other boy in there.
I knew you were going to go there.
I don't really know. Is it LiAngelo? Mm-hmm. I don't even know where he at.
And every year, everybody was like, "Oh, LiAngelo's in the NBA." No, he just signed a summer contract. He just signed, a workout deal. Everybody's like, "He in the NBA?" No, he's not. Get off this train. I'm glad that I don't want to say that he disappeared. That's not the way I mean it. But I'm glad that those narratives have stopped coming.
I ain't even heard his name. You've heard more than I have about him. I didn't even know he was doing all that. I just know I hadn't heard anything about him. So I don't know. Let me ask you this question: how do you feel about the whole statement of Joel Embiid saying he don't want to play back-to-backs? And the fact that him and Paul George both aren't playing in the season opener.
So let me before I answer that question, the Clippers are just I want to use a different word, but they are messing themselves up. Like even though obviously Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, like if you were to take out injuries, Kawhi Leonard would be the better player. I understand that, but even though they both have injury history, I would have more. 99 times out of 100, I would have took Paul George over Kawhi Leonard. Just because Kawhi Leonard just seems like he's just here for a check. And sure, he when he's healthy, he's darn near, he's one of the best, sure. No, I would have said, hey, Kawhi, this is what we're offering. 2 years, $20 million. I know that's a slap in the face, but if you don't like it, go somewhere else. I don't care. Okay, let's say 2 years, $40 million, because that's not realistic. 2 years, $20 million is not realistic.
I give him at least 100.
Yeah. Listen, no, because
he got what? Did they give him like 240? I give him at least 100.
For how many years?
Oh, that I don't know, but like the only reason why I say 100 because the reason why I say 100 for the simple fact of what you said. When he is healthy, he's one of the best. Mm-hmm. Now, when he's gonna be healthy, I don't know, but when he is healthy, I give him 100.
That's what. So I'm like, listen, I while you are number one option name, you don't give me number one option. I don't value you at number one option money. So if you want to continue your legacy, take this 2-year, $40 million, that's $20 million a year. And sure, there are other people making $50 million a year. But at this point, if you try to go somewhere else, they're probably going to pay you. But I don't want you. I'm sorry. So this is where you want to be. You're from LA. We can let's make history. Get us a ring. You play about what you're worth, and let's build a better team. But anyway, I would have let Kawhi Leonard go. I would have kept Paul George. Now to answer your question, Joel Embiid, I'm the same way. Like obviously he balls. He puts up numbers. He's a great player when he's healthy.
He's more dependable than Kawhi.
I'm letting him go. Like I'm going to do the same thing. I'll offer you this. Like I'll probably offer him 3 or 4 years because I'll probably offer him more years, but along the same lines, 20, 25 million. And he's going to be like, that's a slap in the face, fine, go somewhere else. The process is over. It should have been over a long time ago when they let, what's his name, Ben Simmons go. Let's break it up and start over.
I don't know, man.
And then
I don't know.
When they picked up Paul George, I was thinking to myself, well, Tyrese Maxey's going to be in by himself. Like, this is, what are people, I understand it's a business. It's not just, it is about winning, but at the same time, you got to think of other things. You got to think about ticket sales. You got to think about big names, bringing people in. I understand that. But at some point, you have to, there's somebody who is crunching the numbers, probably saying, hey, if we let Joel Embiid go, these people probably don't want to come to Philadelphia. These people, like, we probably don't have better options. So they're probably, it is better just to keep him there. And I understand that.
Mm-hmm. Especially when, granted, I don't wholeheartedly believe he should have played as much as he did in the playoffs because I don't think they had that much of a chance. But especially given the play trajectory that he's been on, where he's been playing more games, and his, like, he almost averaged 30-something plus points last season. Like, and that's him not being 100% the whole season. Like,
so my thing is like, this is an age-old debate. Maybe not age-old. But, everybody wants to, not everybody, people want to lower the amount of games per season so people can be healthier and they can have a better product and all this other stuff. And it's really just coddling the players. And sure, yeah, I'm going to be that person. Whatever, I don't care. If they can't stay healthy, then they don't deserve to, I don't want to say be in the league. Pay them what they're worth. Like, if they can't stay healthy, then they should be Al Horford. and sure, Al Horford isn't putting up the numbers as Joel Embiid, but pay somebody that is going to be healthy. Like, you all are giving these players too much power. That's what's going on.
I mean, I see you. I hear you. I pretty much agree. But at the same time, I'm all for them having the power.
I can understand. I understand. I was going to say one more thing. Obviously, if they don't retain these players, and the player's going to go somewhere else. What has Joel Embiid done besides winning MVP? He's not going to get you a championship. He's not going to go to the Knicks because that's what everybody was thinking. He's not going to go to the Knicks and get them a championship. So why do you care? If he goes to another team, let him tear them down. So what? So what? But anyway, it's more than basketball than just, it's more, you got to think about other things. Like I said, you got to think about ticket sales. You got to think about all these things. Whatever.
I also feel like while I hear you, while I see you, while I hear you as well, while I partially agree with you, my only pushback is, he, like you said yourself, he is balling. I would agree with you completely if he wasn't balling and he was missing games. But he is balling and he's playing more and more games than he has been.
So, I guess ultimately what he gets you to the playoffs, and the playoffs means more games, but more games means more money. So maybe that's ultimately what they're holding on to. Hey, we may get bounced the first round. Paul George, you may get to the second round, maybe conference finals. So more money. That's probably what they're thinking.
Well, I mean that, and like last year was probably, I can't remember, but I feel like last year was probably the furthest they've gotten with Joel Embiid.
They got to the conference
With Joel Embiid?
either second round or I feel like they got to the conference finals once. Yeah, with Kawhi, when they went against Kawhi Leonard. When he hit the bounce. That was conference
That was
finals.
with Joel? Joel Embiid?
Because he cried after that game.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that, yeah. So I just feel like, especially with the way he was playing in the playoffs last year or early this year or whatever, like with him not being 100%, now is I to bring it back to what I was asking, I completely understand the fact of them, or him and them, I guess, agreeing for him to not play back-to-back so that way he can be healthier for the postseason. My only downside is you still got to get there.
Yep.
You still got to win games to get there, and it's almost like I get it. Like I understand you want to be healthy because you weren't healthy last playoffs, and you want to make sure you're healthy this time. Completely get it, but it's almost like it's almost like he's just pretty much being like, oh, I know we're gonna make it to the playoffs. You don't know that because yes, y'all brought in Paul George. Yes, y'all made some changes elsewhere, but other teams also made changes as well. So it's not just going to be easy as you think.
And not only that, like the way I think, and maybe it's a pessimistic way of thinking of things, but just because, and I'm thinking of it from a different way. So just because you do back-to-backs also doesn't mean that you're going to make it, or he's going to make it to the playoffs. So let's say, you do he doesn't play back-to-backs all the way to like the second to the last week or even the last week. He gets injured. Well, what was the point of him not playing back-to-backs?
I don't know. And then, too, he's not really, as a big man, because he's not really, like, playing super hard and aggressive as a big guy. I mean, yeah, he does a little back down here and there, but he's more so, like, shooting jumpers, shooting threes, like, Euro and whatever. Like, he's not really just, like, back down 89% of the game. That's not his thing. Plus, you also have Andrew Drummond behind him, so you can always bring him in to kind of give him some relief. Who a lot of people, I don't say people don't talk about Drummond anymore, but he was a pretty good center. So like that's a great backup to have. So like if you just with that tandem alone, it's not like we can't take Joel out because we got Vlade Divac coming in or like Zubac or whatever. It's Drummond. So you know what I'm saying, like that. You should feel comfortable to rest a little bit. So that we're not even going to ask you to play all 38 minutes or whatever your minutes is because, so I think it'd be all right.
So where do you think the 76ers will be in the standings?
So
obviously,
I say fourth or fifth.
Because I was going to say, obviously, we both have the Celtics up top.
Yes.
The Knicks are more of a wild card. I'm not sure where they're going to be.
It just depends on how well they mesh.
The Bucks, I feel like they're going to do better. I feel like they will get it together, even though Doc Rivers, he does. I'd say Bucks 3 through 5, somewhere around there.
The issue with the Bucks is they have no bench.
Bucks have a lot of issues.
I mean, they have a lot of issues, but like one of the big issues, they don't really have a bench for real. So like if their starting five don't play well, and you bring in the backups, it's like, so you have to rely on like Dame and Giannis
And Middleton.
Because I mean, who you gonna bring in? Giannis's brother?
And Lopez. You have to go there.
You gonna bring Giannis's brother in to do something?
Speaking of what's the word? Development.
No, there is no development. There is. He comes with me. I'm in the league. He's in the league.
He should have some kind of productivity by now. I mean, I guess
he learned how to dribble the ball from half court to full court.
Some people just don't,
Okay, all jokes aside, he's not horrible. He's not again, to go back to, like, and I know you talked about this before, with the whole saying of, like, the worst NBA player is better than most people in the regular world. I get it. So I'm not going to say he's horrible, but when you just compare him to the rest of the people in the league, it's like, how did he get on the team?
I would pick him more than those first 3 people that was in the ring ceremony yesterday.
That you don't know?
I don't know who those guys were. Jeez.
John Thomas. What? I get a ring? You look, Mom. I made it.
Oh my God.
It's almost like when the Warriors won that championship and they gave a ring to what's the guy who used to play with them, but he wasn't on the team at the time.
I don't know, not Quinn Cook. Was it Quinn Cook?
Yeah, this tall white dude. For some reason my brain is saying Andrew Kirkland, but I know that's not it.
Andrew Bogut?
Yeah, I think that may have been. Yeah. So they gave him. Well, at least that's what I heard. I don't know how true it is, but I heard they gave him a ring because he was on the team, like, and then he got traded or left or something like that. So they ended up still giving him a ring or whatever.
I still remember, there's times, I don't know if it was Russell Westbrook, but it was like, hey, if one of these players, if they team, I think he was on a Dallas Maverick, I don't know, but it was like, hey, if they win, both teams were in the player played for both teams, and it was like, technically he could get a ring if either one of these teams win. I can't remember who it was, but I think his team lost, so he didn't end up getting a ring.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh well. Last question before we wrap it up. I'm getting hot.
Yeah, me too.
Overall excitement for the NBA season. With all the new changes and added and subtraction on teams, like, what's your overall excitement for the new season?
I am, I don't know, number, letter, I don't know.
Just however you want to express it.
I am very excited, mainly because of Klay Thompson on the Mavericks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say very excited, but I am definitely interested to see how that plays out because I feel like he's gonna have to be more of a not set shooter, but like catch and shoot type of person. Which I'm not saying he's never been that, but I feel like on the Warriors he was more kind of like move around, run around, but now he's just gonna be like, hey, boom, pop. Not have to dribble a whole lot, which probably will work out for him. The only issue is he's probably going to go from shooting like, let's say, 30 shots to like 15. And he's got to make those 15.
My question is, do you feel like he's under more pressure or less pressure?
I don't think he really has any pressure. I think there's more just kind of, I can't think of the term for it. I think everybody's just intrigued to see how it pans out. But I don't think there's like a pressure, like he has to perform. I think it's just more so like everybody's intrigued to see what happens.
Okay, so I think he's got the same amount of pressure because obviously he was on the Golden State Warriors, a legendary team. He's on a legendary backcourt. He was one of the Splash Brothers. You know, he's has this reputation where he's supposed to. I was going to say conduct, produce. So, obviously he had his injuries. They say he came back. He wasn't what he used to be. And I feel like maybe there's the mental thing going on where, he was going through it mentally, obviously. Steve Kerr put him on the bench. He was doing better. So the team just wasn't where they won a championship. So they had the potential, but then so many things going on. Jordan Poole, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, he leaves the team. You would think that if he goes to any other team that he would be under less pressure. But he goes to the Mavericks, who were just in the finals. So they're expected to get back to the finals. So you, this legendary shooter, you got this reputation. You're on this team, expected to perform. I don't know. I feel like there's just if he went to any other team, I don't think he would have had this besides the Celtics.
The reason why I don't think I'll say it this way. I agree with you. I agree with you that there is pressure, but I guess what I'm saying is I don't think there's more pressure because one, which is the biggest part, this is his first year with them. Yes, they're expected to get back to where they just came from, but I don't think there's any added pressure because, we got Klay, we need you to be the Klay of old, because I think a lot of people expect, or just know he's not the Clay of old. So they just expect him to be average Clay. We just need you to hit these shots because we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to move around. We're going to get it to you. Hit the shot. Now, if you don't hit the shot, now we're going to start having pressure because it's like, bro, you only had 7 shots. You made 2.
That's what I'm like, from not necessarily even from external pressure, but from him putting the pressure on himself. Because like he went from being that guy to coming off the bench. And then he was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to come over here. I'm back as a starter. So do you feel like he's like, man, if I don't, like you said, if I don't perform, then all that people are going to be like, hey, what's going on? Do I lose my starting spot? Like how?
I'm pretty sure all that was probably kind of discussed in the whole contract thing or meeting or whatever. He probably was like, if I do come, I expect to start. Blase, blase. I'm pretty sure they probably talked about that. But also, too, I think a lot of people, maybe not for the entire season. I am, but I feel like a lot of people aren't doing it for the entire season. But I feel like a lot of people are going to give him grace because you're in a whole different system than Golden State plays a whole different system than Dallas plays. So it's like that's why I guess that's why I'm saying there's not a whole big expectation from it because at the end of the day, like this is not the team you played your career with. So it's like you still got to get used to it. Like, I mean, yes, Steph is a good ball manager, but he ain't no Kyrie where you just got to be looking because you don't know where it's coming from. And Luka's the same way, so he got to get used to it. So there's a grace period. Now, like you said, with his internal pressure, that's different. Like, obviously, he's gonna be because he knows the eyes are on him. But
I feel like the Mavericks fandom is not toxic, so I don't.
not for real.
I don't think that if he performs, obviously he's going to hear about it, but I don't think they're going to jump down his throat. Sure, they may be like, all right, bench him, blah blah blah, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it would be on the Warriors or the Lakers or something like that.
Let me ask you this question: do you think, while I agree with you, the Mavericks fandom isn't toxic like some fandoms are, but do you think that their toxicity increased because they just came back from losing the finals? Because my thing is it's easy to not be toxic when you don't expect to get past a certain point. But we just got there.
I want to
go back.
But
so do you not think the toxicity rose a little bit?
Yes, I would say yes, it has. Because I know that. So me personally, I don't blame the players when things go wrong. I more blame Mark Cuban, the front office. So if Clay does bad, I can't say I speak for everybody. I just think as the forums that I've been in, I don't think most people, but maybe Luka gets more, but I think that's external. I don't think that's from like the Mavericks fans. But I mean, I'm sure there's maybe a increased level of toxicity.
I feel like to your point, I don't think it's probably a lot, but I feel like there is a little bit, especially now because the new season. So everybody's riding that high, like, all right, we were just there. All right, guys, we got Clay, let's go. And then once you get to be the season, they're like 23 and 36, and it's like,
So that is my fears. Like, obviously, Clay is not the person he used to be. I feel like on paper our team has gotten better, but we just don't know what kind of Clay we're getting. Like, if he is in his head and he needs to go back to the bench, I mean, it's not a bad thing. But we already know Luka and Kristaps didn't get along. So Luka and Kyrie has reportedly done well. So I would hope that Luka gives grace to Clay.
Push come to shove, I could see Clay, even if he isn't the Clay of old or whatever Clay. Push come to shove, the Mavericks just went to the finals. Like you said, they got better on paper because they added Clay and they did some other things or whatever, right? Push come to shove, he could end up being just like a Big Shot Rob or like a Trevor Ariza when he was on the Lakers. Somebody that you don't really expect a lot from, but like if we need a big shot, or if we need somebody that can hit a shot, because they're gonna be guarding Luka, they're gonna be guarding Kyrie. You got Clay over here, who, yes, he ain't the Clay of old, but like I know I can still depend on him to hit a shot if I really need him to.
So you feel like he's been reduced down to just like a more than average role player?
No, I'm not saying he has. I'm saying if for some reason the season goes on and he's not playing well, at the end of the day, you still have a serviceable shooter that you can depend on. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, you want Clay to be Clay, but if for some reason he's not that Clay, it ain't like he's reduced to being like, oh, it's us and Pat Bev on the corner. You know what I'm saying? It's still Clay.
I was going to agree with you. I think that, and you know, like I said, a more than, a better than, I don't know how to put it, but more than just a average role player. I think, you know, his days of averaging 20, like James Harden. James Harden isn't averaging 30 anymore. You know, these past couple seasons, maybe he's like in the teens or
was it his? Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like I feel like the reason for that is because, and I know we got to wrap it up, but like I feel the reason why he's not averaging like he used to is because James Harden isn't able to take advantage of the rules like he used to as well. Because he got a lot of free throw shots, he got a lot of fouls. You know, like the little doing the shot and then leaning into him like. That played a big factor in him getting a lot of points. Yeah, and he can't do that no more. Mm-hmm. Also, he don't have the speed burst he used to blow by people. So it's kind of like he ain't, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if that is a reason why he has started becoming like the third player. Because I mean, if he still could, I'm sure he would still want to be the number one person. So I think maybe something has happened to him that he has lost a step, like you said.
Well, essentially, he is going to be the number one person because Kawhi's out, and Paul George is gone, and Russell is left.
That could be the whole reason why he stayed there.
So he going to be the number one now. It's going to be the Houston Rockets Harden, which balled out, but they went nowhere. But he was still balling out when he's the Rockets.
All right, so before we go, I was thinking about another thing. Is Vince Carter the Busta Rhymes of the NBA? I know that's a whole conversation. We can.
Just go. We're gonna let them. I'm gonna put. Well, that's not much of a clip, but we'll ask it and see what they say, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Thank y'all for listening. It's been big and short. Because longevity, you know, Vince Carter.
Hey, I get it.
I mean, there's more to it, but yeah. You can find us on, you know, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You know, big and short. Just check us all out. Leave comments. You know, talk to us. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, we'll have to go through some of the other comments that we got from other videos, especially talking about the Derrick Rose stuff. But because you know, Busta Rhymes. Yeah, man. You can also find me on Instagram at DA_Bear, BEAR 29.
I think you missed the A that two.
I did not, man. I just say it so quick.
You can find me on Instagram, HAPPEE_MILLS. It was a lot.
Hey, man. That's what you chose. Are you done? You done? What's the chick that played in the WNBA? She came from UConn. She was like, I think she's still in the league now. She's like a veteran. She's been in the game for a minute. A white chick.
I can name, you know, the what. So there's Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi.
I think it's Diana Taurasi. She's the Missy Elliott of the WNBA.
Oh, okay. All right.
Longevity.
I was gonna say Diana Taurasi has, you know, the most points. That's everybody was saying she's a GOAT. I've heard Sue Bird was a GOAT. I've heard so many GOATs. So I was like, why is Diana Taurasi the GOAT? They said because she's got the most points.
She also lost weight like Missy Elliott too. All right, guys.
Thank y'all for watching.